What up, everybody? Welcome to Fast and Turious, where we explore the journeys of HubSpot solutions partners that have tiered and are scaling or have scaled in the HubSpot ecosystem. Today, I'm joined by a good friend, Brendan Tolleson from RevPartners, CEO, claim to fame of RevPartners. I can say some of these since I know them well. They are and Brendan has led the fastest tiering HubSpot partner to platinum. I don't know how fat, 3 months, diamond, 5 months, and elite in 13 months. Brendan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. This is fun. I don't think we've ever done a podcast like this. We've done one for Agency Unfiltered where we talked to the HubSpot team, but for us to talk together is will be a delight and a privilege. So appreciate it.
Yeah, this will be the first time we have talked as not in the same organization. This will be the time we've as CEOs of separate orgs. So I'm excited to hear about all of the stuff you're doing since I left. We like to start with this.
Should they view us as divorced, or how should they interpret our
divorce?
Our relationship.
That's such a strong word. We are the best kind of divorce where you can raise children and both the children still love you and you do Christmas well. I don't know how to feel like Mary.
Yeah. The fantasy divorce that people want all the good things.
Yeah. We'll be the Hollywood divorced. No, not like Hollywood actors, because that's the worst kind. We're anyway. Anyway, let's talk about how we Brendan, I think from your perspective, one thing I'd like to start with is how did you, because you did not, I mean, and I know this intimately, you did not think HubSpot you thought HubSpot was less real than I did when we started. How did you say, okay, I'm going to become a HubSpot partner? What led to the decision? Lead me through the headspace you were in and why you did it.
Yeah, for those that don't know my background, I've been in VC-backed B2B SaaS technology companies for most of my career, and had a strong bias against HubSpot and really just viewed it as a marketing automation tool. And before RP, I was serving as head of sales and marketing at a tech-enabled services company that had HubSpot, and then I ripped it out as my first move at the company and installed Salesforce and paid a lot more for it. But it's what I knew, and it's what I believe to be better. So that is my background coming into this.
And did it work, Brendan? Let's be clear. And did it work? Right. So you went. I mean, what were the revenue track you were at that point?
It definitely worked. I mean, we grew 140% year over year. We hired 4 reps that knew the system and were very comfortable with it. I mean, we paid a ton of money for it, and I had to have an admin to support that. But yeah, it worked.
Yeah, I think it's just important. Like, this play is well trodden. It executes, and Brendan was doing the play, and there's a reason there's a bias because it works. So just want to make sure for people here. Anyway, what led you to say, okay, I know something that works. Let me do something different.
Well, I think Matt, you can speak in this a little bit too, but I mean, when we started RP, it was really around like how to be different. And we saw, while you and I both knew like the mature organizations or CRM applications like Salesforce and Dynamics, we also knew they were very crowded. And so we knew we wanted to be different and to allow us to scale faster. And we just stumbled across it. That is the reality. We tried a lot of other tools, and for those that don't know Matt, I joke that Matt's a bit of a tools whore, which is probably I don't know if we can say that on this show, but he likes. He's a demo. What's the right word? You like to look at tools.
Yeah, if let's say HubSpot bought something like a Clearbit, there would be insights on me as a person saying he's probably not a buyer.
We're currently like cleaning up our P&L, our tools kit, and I think I have like 30 tools that Matt bought 2 years ago that probably have sat on the shelf for a long time. But anyways, I digress. So we had we tried a lot of different tools, like Active Campaign was one of them, and Matt, you could probably speak into a few of the other ones. But then Sketch Effect came around, and who's still a current customer of ours 3 years later, and they were on HubSpot, and it really opened our eyes to what it could do. The bias that we had that it was a marketing automation tool, but seeing the development they made in the product to truly orchestrate the end-to-end customer journey. And I remember Matt calling me and saying, "Brendan, this is the platform, and we need to go in hard, and we need to go in now." And so that's how we got to HubSpot.
Yes. I think there's a key there. And I think this will continue to be true for a long time. The Salesforce ecosystem is massive with lots of partners, and there's space for many types of partners, many types of specializations, as they have so many use cases and so many types of customer bases throughout SMB, midsize, and even large enterprises, right? HubSpot at that point is like part of our decision was it's an ecosystem that people don't believe in yet, and we thought there was an arbitrage opportunity as this system is better than people actually think. Let's go and show people how good the system is. And so there's part of this of I don't think we would have started a Salesforce even if we believed in Salesforce just because it's so crowded. I think there's like a business of component. I think this is also still true right now. I think it's going to be true for the next 5 years plus, like especially as HubSpot expands services, specializations, and increases capacity, period. Like I just think it's going to be true.
Yeah, and I think, when a lot of people, I know you led at the top around our speed, we were just, yes, we execute, but we are really fortunate from timing. When we get into, and I'm sure for a lot of the partners that are entering this space, we talk to HubSpot about, hey, you need a different type of partner. If you want to be the CRM platform for scaling companies, you can no longer be just a marketing agency, and you need a different type of profile. And that's what we really brought to the market and why we saw that opportunity with HubSpot. And you're seeing it with all these new partners that even Super's probably working with, where they have this competency that's different. And it's not a marketing agency-centric mindset. It's more of a solution-based systems integrator type of approach. And I know we'll get into that later, but those are the type of partners that are really winning the market right now.
Yeah, and I will say, as a point, there is lots of space for agencies that help specifically with driving leads or inbound, outbound, all bound leads into the funnel, and that will never go away. I think there's a larger TAM for CRM centric data, and oftentimes they play really well with each other. And so there's this, there's not either or, it can be both. Yeah. Or it could be one or the other. So I just want to, what you really saw HubSpot doing is they were expanding their market share and they needed new people for new ICPs. That's what they needed.
Correct.
And so it's just a larger ecosystem. Okay, Brendan. Traditionally, we're talking about tiering from one thing to the next. RevPartners has been Elite for a while. So I think this is just interesting, especially as I'm talking to other partners that are Elite, is what happens after Elite. So what I'd like to do is just what's your current revenue? When you think about employees, where are you at? And then what is the goal you're trying to achieve, especially as you think about 2024? And how are you thinking about going into next year?
Yeah, I think for us, when I say us, I'm saying RP at this point, to try to hit the delineation. I think I don't know if anything really changed from a mentality perspective when we hit Elite. And I think when you get complacent, that's when you start to slow down. So I think the drive has not changed. I think it has helped us think through what's kind of where the goalposts now, or in terms of where we want to go as a business, which we can get to in a bit. But in terms of where we're at as it relates to the organization, we'll exit this year between probably right around $9 million in revenue. If we look at our current run rate, from a people perspective, we will be roughly about 75 folks. So we've been very fortunate. I mean, that'll be 3 years into the business. We started 3 years in January. So not really, let's just call it 3 years. So it's been a pretty rewarding ride. We've learned a lot. There are a lot of things we have done poorly, but we can certainly talk through that. But that's where we're at right now. Was your question where we're going, or do you want to table that for a little bit further down?
Yeah, I'll sit on that speed. I hope, I dream about Super doing $10 million in 3 years. Like that is SaaS like growth in an ecosystem. So congrats for the team on that. That is nothing. I mean, we can go over that very quickly, but we should sit in that. When I go back, when I talk about learnings, I'll reattach and anchor on that point. I think there's some learnings on how to do growth that quickly and the pains that come with it. And when you think about your 2024 and your elite goalposts change, like what are you thinking about as you set goals? And let's just keep it at 3. Like what are the 3 things you're top of mind as you're setting goals for 2024?
I think it's more helpful for me to work backwards. So where do we want to go? I think, our BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal is to be the most strategic and influential partner for HubSpot. And that's over a 5-year period. And in terms of what the goals are for next year, yes, we have like top high-level KPIs in terms of revenue, profitability, et cetera, which I don't mind sharing if that's something that's relevant or meaningful for the audience. But that's kind of the what that informs the how. And so then we start thinking through what are the initiatives that we have as an organization. And that's probably more what I think your audience cares about. And so for us to achieve, let's just call it 50% year-over-year growth, right? So if we're going to go from 10 to 15, how are we going to do that? And so then we start getting into what are the plays that we're going to run as an organization from a sales perspective for net new logo, but also getting into the cross-sell and retention side. Because it's one thing to grow your base, but you need to make sure you actually retain that base. And so I'm thinking about recurring revenue for the audience here.
So because Elite is just really a recognition of being an ecosystem and being a partner. So, but you're really thinking, what you're really thinking about next year is revenue generation and hitting 15. What I'm hearing is 15, like getting close to 50% growth, 15 million. I'm sure there's some other stuff that's just helpful to think through as you're doing that. As you were tiering, and let's say you're getting to 9 million or 10 million. What are This is weird thinking. It's in 3 years. What were your initial? Because that's almost a year ago, to a year and a half ago when you were going through that journey of tiering. What challenges did you face in the growth to Elite? And then what do you face in maintaining Elite? Like how are you solving those problems or thinking about that in the day to day?
Yeah, I think the beginning for any company, you don't have a brand, you don't have customers that you can demonstrate competency, and so you have no lead gen vehicle. So at the beginning, it was how the heck do we drive demand for our business when it's just Matt and I, candidly, and so we made a decision to raise some money, and that was I think for both you and I, if we take a step back and we say, hey, was that the right decision? For us, the answer is yes. And it allowed us to make some key hires, but it also allowed us to do some things pretty creative. So I would say that was the initial challenge, is like, how do we create a point of view and a brand? And so that's what we spent a lot of our time on at the early phases. Once we got to Elite, I would say what changed is, hey, if our true desire is to be, well, let's take the mission statement. If our mission statement is to democratize revenue operations by making it accessible, consumable, and actionable in HubSpot, and if our desire is to be the most strategic and influential partner of HubSpot, then we have to scale beyond founders. And so that was a really hard season of RP as it relates to when you see your conversion rates go from the 30s to the 10 to 12% range for a sustained period of time. That's not fun. So we talked to the team a lot about slowing down to speed up, and it was all designed to say, hey, for us to truly be a mature organization with 100 plus people, Matt and I cannot be in the day-to-day operations. Or in the day-to-day selling or marketing. That's just not how we're going to build this business. And so we got to empower our people to do that. So that's been the story of RP in this whole year, candidly, is how do we allow for our team to carry and cast our mission, our vision, and ultimately for the market experience RP through them, not through us.
Yeah, founder-led transitions are difficult in any business. I think it's specifically very difficult if you do the way we executed go-to-market, which was founder-led sales and founder-led brand marketing. I think it is a difficult. I would add this, having been there for this period, was just so everybody hears it. I mean, there were months. We said be creative. Let me like just sit down and be creative. So it's both a challenge and opportunity. I mean, we made some crazy bets that could have just put us totally under. We like 2-3 months in a row, we were running 100K losses, 50K losses. But we had a budget, we had a plan, and we had specific goals, and we would budget and know that was going to occur. Period. We could not have done that if we did not have investment and a PE firm that believed in us, trusted us to do what's best for the business and give us that flexibility. So like there can be bad, but like those initial challenges, we were able to overcome them in ways that were probably they're not accessible to some other partners in the ecosystem because we got this early investment early on. I'd also say the partnership we had, we didn't bear weight by ourselves. It was between us that became I think it's really hard to find. We were told constantly not to do partnerships by people, but it ended up being very good for us and worked well. That for us, I think, accelerated much of the revenue, the ability to hire as we brought different skill sets to think through different problems.
I think we joked about the divorce concept at the beginning, and Matt and I have a very, very healthy and a very strong relationship, and being able to support each other and cheer each other on as we now run two different businesses. And that's ultimately what you want. I mean, if you think about like not to get spiritual or philosophical, but like the definition of when I think about love, it's like desiring the best for another. And so it's like there is a true love for you and saying, I really want to support you and encourage you and challenge you and see you grow and see how Super is growing. And I think from a RP perspective, going back to the beginning, to your point, it's like investment's not for everybody, and it really depends as you as a founder or really as a founder what you want. And it's totally okay to say I'd rather run in isolation and not raise money and build a lifestyle business. I think you just have to be realistic about what you want to create, and that will inform how you create, like how you actually build. And for Matt and I, we want to build something special, and that is beyond us, and that requires certain decisions that we've made.
Yeah, it required a certain revenue that we had to hit. Required there's certain things we had to hit that took away options to create new ones, but it was a risk. So, and just as a point, so we put this out here. I'm sure Brendan's happy to talk about people if you're considering that as an option and like what the learnings from it, and I am too. Just as a point for everyone. This more of a quick questions and answers, but just from the head of a CEO that's running an elite partner, one of the top elite partners in the ecosystem. What is one thing you'd never do again from running an elite, or in your journey of becoming elite plus?
What would I never do again? I
have an answer, Brendan.
I don't mean it. Yeah, what's that?
I said I have an answer from myself if I was doing this.
I don't mean this to sound arrogant. I'm trying to think about. I'm really proud of what we've done. So I'm trying to think of how I'd answer that question.
I'll answer the question for us if we're doing this. The one thing Brendan and I are really bad at, at least at the beginning, is I just believe in people really hard, and I think we're easily like sold on people. And that's not that people aren't great. It is this regardless of there's some people that can just like hunt out and find talent. It is so important for never be too enamored with someone. Always follow. I think Rob Foreman, who came in and like mentor, it is never like always follow a hiring process. Make sure you have the job description, the competency you're looking for, the value system you're going for. Even if you know they're perfect, like still go through that process in some fashion. And we didn't. Never again will I not have a hiring process in any company I'm in. That's which we didn't have one for the first.
Well, yeah, we're very fortunate. At our P perspective, we've invested in a people ops team, and Jen Nault runs that organization, and they've done an amazing job of. Yeah, to your point, Rob Foreman, the Who framework is what we've incorporated. We have a whole process built out, largely based off of some of those some of the things that you're alluding to there. And I think for me, this year has been hard. I mean, all years are hard, but I think in terms of me, when you say to not do it again, I think I'm reflecting more on this year for me, it's been more going from a CRO to a CEO. And there's a lot there to unpack, but I think that was what was necessary at the time. But that's been I could speak into that whole for a long time, but that's a whole journey that I probably should do a whole podcast on at some point. But there's a lot of things I did poorly in that transition that I'm trying to fix as we continue to scale.
CRO to CEO. As our divorce is occurring, so that's probably there's good. That's a whole topic. What is we talked about one thing you wish you did earlier. I think we generally as I'm thinking about this. I remember you saying this question was I never want to invest. It would be like one of the last hires is do people ops. We ended up not because Brendan and I, but because the CEO of RevPartners, helped us think through a problem. We brought people ops very early. And I would say things I wish I did earlier. I think we did it at the right time, but something that I would continually do earlier than you probably think is necessary is bringing on people ops or like bringing on someone who's thinking about and manifesting the culture, the processes that helped us in so many ways that I think it was difficult to think through.
Yeah, I had no desire to bring in people ops. Thought it was just a terrible decision. It was going to be a drag on our P&L. It had been ingrained in me, and that was, to Leiden's credit, that was, ultimately to Jen's credit, that has been so critical to the sustainability and to the health of the organization.
Question: did you ever think you would hire? I saw this person. I saw you posted on LinkedIn. Did you ever think you would hire a learning and managing manager, like a learning and
no? Yeah, that was the same bucket. So, Murillo, you're on notice. You better live up to Jim.
I think it's more as like how our perspective changes. It's just cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll have going into next year. We will have 4 people in our people ops department. That's not just a person; it's a department. And so if we truly say that we are focusing on excellence and care, that it's not a binary statement, that it's an and statement for the way we're building our business, then our actions need to reflect our words. And so having a people ops function to be the ambassador of care is really important.
Brendan, as we end and we come with, I like to think about this as our last topic and question. What is the big bet that you're making for RP's future? Maybe there's a few, but like what's one or two of those big bets you're thinking about?
Yeah, I think I'm going to start with where we're going, because then we'll tell you about the bets that we're making. We're thinking bigger. And I think HubSpot has allowed us to think bigger. I think, depending on when this podcast hits, moves they've made, like Clearbit being acquired by HubSpot yesterday, has made us think bigger. And so vision statement has therefore changed. And we want to become the global services provider for the CRO. Global is I think there's probably 2 words there that are interesting. Global is one, CRO is the other. And so right now we have been primarily known as let's just call it tech services, meaning that RevOps systems integrator that's administering HubSpot on behalf of our customers. That doesn't change, but we believe that by serving that function, we have the ability to not only create visibility, but now have the right to say, here's how you actually implement change. So not just saying, here's the problem, but here's a solution to that problem. So as we're working with the CRO, having different service lines beyond tech services that can allow us to drive impact for our partners. We want to be good stewards of our partners, allow them to achieve their revenue objectives. So bets that we're making, to your point, is we know we need to expand our service lines. We need to be global. And so that's both on the service line perspective, but also from a delivery perspective. And so we are looking into things around demand gen. So to your point, Matt, you talked about agencies. There is a place for agencies, but we're rethinking how do we actually create a demand gen product around intent, both from a marketing perspective, but also from a prospecting perspective. That all-bound motion, there's something there, and we want to make sure that we have a point of view and that we're able to attack that. And then we're getting into other areas around community and how do we create a place for upskilling and training. Because if we're going to democratize RevOps, we need to have a place for people to go to learn and to be able to act. And then finally getting into, if we're going to serve the CRO, how do we empower and equip them with talent? And so these are future statements that we will be looking at over a 10-year horizon. But we want to have a suite of products that allow for a CRO to work with RP. And so that is where we're headed as an organization. We're not going to lose focus around HubSpot or being that RevOps provider, but we're going to have other solutions that are going to come to market.
That's a big bet. You're blowing my mind. That will. I look forward to chatting to you on the same podcast in a year and see how fast and Turious you've been going, Brendan. So thank you, Mr. Tolleson, for joining us on the Fast and Turious podcast. I appreciate you. If someone wants to talk to you more, where can they find you?
LinkedIn, or you can email. I'll just give my email. I'm sure I'll get spammed. I already get spammed enough, but btolleson@RevPartners.io. Yeah, I mean, and to Matt's point, I mean that. If we can be a resource for you, we'd be happy to do that. You could say Super's actually competitor to what RP has built. So our mission, it fits within our mission statement, which is to democratize something, and that means it needs to be available. So if it's knowledge, insights, or even having the ability to see how we built what we created, this is an ecosystem that is large enough for all of us, and we all can win together. And the more that we can support each other, I think the better the ecosystem is, but more importantly, the better we can serve our partners. And if we solve for the customer, we're in a good spot.
I love what you said. I believe it. I know you believe it too. Is we need more. We need the next generation of elite partners that can serve and go up market with HubSpot, and we need more. And a rising tide raises all boats. So I appreciate you being available for that, Brendan. By the way, Clearbit already has your email, so don't worry about those coming out. So
Sure.
Appreciate you. That's it, everybody. Stay awesome. Keep doing it big and stay super. Adios, team.